The process that we see happening with NPPD is that we expect they're going to release their integrated resource plan in 2023, which says, looking forward for the next X years, this is what we see happening with load, this is what we have for existing generation, this is what we see having to add for more generation, and that these plants are going to be called out as part of that integrated resource plan, and it'll be followed by a request for proposals.
Premier Energy of Grand Island wants to build the George Norris McCook solar plant to tie into the fuel oil peaking plant on Highway 83 north of McCook.
Our business and our home are within a quarter of a mile of this proposed project.
We are allowed to do this project with permission from the county to do this project.
Currently, the Red Willow County Commissioners are halting progress with this project with a 6-month moratorium. Some landowners in Red Willow County say they are offended. They believe in protecting the environment and the land, as most landowners do. They do not, however, support a proposed 1,000-acre solar plant, which, if built, would span across the property of several farms.
Based on conversations we've had with NPPD, I will, it would not surprise me in the least if they want to go with all 4 phases right off the bat.
My number one concern is the property values, just from the aesthetics of living next to a project of this size. Secondly is the environmental impact. They're not discussing the heavy metals. They're not discussing the noise. They all think it's green energy, but they're not taking into account all the fossil fuels it's going to take to build this project, all the traffic, the disruption to our lives, our businesses, and it seems like an extremely sophisticated wealth transfer.
By 2050, NPPD has committed to be net zero in its fossil fuel emissions. And so so NPPD in the next 28 years has to figure out how to get to that point. Our project is a way of locking in the operation of that very, very reliable fuel oil power plant. That they can't retire that fuel oil power plant because that would also take away the interconnection rights for any solar that's interconnected through it.
A public meeting held in the Keystone Building in McCook on Tuesday allowed concerned citizens to hear what Jeff Cook Coyle had to say about the project and then ask him questions.
So why are you not being precise with these things?
Because this is going to be, people from my industry nationwide are going to be reading what's reported in this article, and I don't want to give away specific information.
But that's not being fair.
That's not being honest.
It will be 300 million.
Then say it.
Then say it.
Because
don't tell them tonight it's 200.
To the people that are going to border this project, their homes, their livelihoods, their families, and not enough studies have been done into the effects of these large-scale solar farms. It's never been done in the state of Nebraska. Never been done. The largest one to date is in Norfolk. 8.5 megawatts covers 70 acres. People may not want to live next to these massive solar farms, and you're basically asking us to trust you that this is all good for us. And how is this not a form of income redistribution?
We had a meeting for neighbors last night, and there was one gentleman who claimed he had 60 studies of home values that have decreased from solar. I said, super, send them to me. We're not looking to reduce your home values. That's completely contrary from all of the third-party studies that I've seen. I'm interested in seeing what you have. He didn't give me his email address. I'll be surprised if I see any of those studies.
It's just appalling to me that MPPD hasn't signed off on this, but yet these companies are just jumping in and saying, okay, Red Willow County's an easy target.
We have 6 months while the Planning Commission reviews their zoning regulations to have an ongoing conversation about property values. I very, very much want to give everybody who lives in close proximity to this route, to the project, comfort that this is not going to negatively impact your property values. Absolutely, I hear you on that.
Yeah, I'm tremendously offended. And I'm offended that my neighbors that I've considered friends for a very long time are signing on to this, and it's a huge money grab. That's how I feel about it. It's a huge money grab. So basically, we will be redistributing revenues from existing homeowners as their property values decline, and the owners of this project and the landowners that are pledging to it are going to make the money. So it's just a wealth transfer is all it is, in my opinion.
NPPD has said they expect to have a request for proposals later this year. We will bid our project into that, and we hope it's selected. Asking for a condition that it would be a 45 decibel sound limit at neighbors' houses, and just I'm gonna guess it's not going to be a lot farther than people's houses that you would be able to hear it. It drops off very quickly because the sound goes in all directions, and so it decreases at the cube of the distance. We will only build phases as NPPD agrees, with ironclad commitments to invest the money that it takes to build a phase. No steel goes in the ground until there are ironclad guarantees for NPPD to buy the energy for at least 20 years.
This thing is senseless.
Our plant is going to be 2% of the output of Gerald Gentleman. Our goal is not to put Gerald Gentleman out of business.
That's your goal, but that's not what's going to happen based upon history.
No, it's not. There are other solar developers who would love to see Gerald Gentleman put out of business. We are not one of those. I am a big fan of 24/7 reliable electricity.
In a statement from NPPD, they say NPPD has been approached by Premier Energy and other renewable developers about supplementing existing generation at multiple NPPD locations. NPPD has not made any commitments to build or purchase this facility or any others at this point in time. Currently, NPPD does not have any plans to add renewable generation at this site. NPPD is currently in the process of putting together an integrated resource plan which looks at what generation might be needed in the future to serve customers, and adding solar generation is something NPPD will be looking at. NPPD puts together an IRP every 5 years, and any consideration for additional generation would need to be approved by NPPD's Board of Directors. If NPPD would decide to add more solar generation, then NPPD would issue a request for proposal for new resources to be considered. Currently, there is no RFP open.
We were offered to put land in the project. I didn't own the piece of land. I attended some of the first meetings, and at that time they were offering approximately $350 an acre to contract, for 20 years, $350 an acre per year. I didn't own the land at the time. My parents owned the land, and so full disclosure, I told my parents about it. And within 1 week after making that initial proposal, Premier Energy doubled the price without answering one of my questions and my concerns. I'm concerned about the chemicals in these solar plants. I'm concerned about the impact to our communities. I'm concerned about all the traffic. I'm concerned about wildfires. None of those questions were answered, and all they did was just double the price. And that seems to be the way that they're doing this is, okay, we meet some resistance, throw more money at it. And so full disclosure, I told my parents, I said, you have an opportunity here. And my father said, I don't care what amount of money you offer me. I'm not covering a piece of land that I worked 45 years to pay off and keep in my family to cover it with solar panels to send the energy on down the line to some other community. Why should we pollute the landscape of our community to power homes in Dallas, Texas, or Denver, Colorado, or Omaha, Nebraska?
We see a need. NPPD has said there is a need. NPPD has, said publicly and privately that they recognize this is one of the best places in the state to add solar energy. The businesses that are coming to Nebraska that want to come to Nebraska are saying, we want to build a data center, we want to build a factory, and we want it to be powered by green energy. And The transmission system is full. The engineers are scratching their heads how to add more renewables to the existing transmission system when you have a plant whose transmission rights are sitting idle most of the time. NPPD recognizes that this is the easy way to add renewables to the system.
Why should we pollute our landscape so that they can enjoy green energy? I disagree with it totally. If they need green energy that much, put it in your backyard. Don't put it in our backyard. We don't need it.
You have a hard time accepting we can be good neighbors, but
You can be good neighbors if you just left.
well, it's
All
your
right,
opinion.
I'm just gonna be blunt.
Sure.
Reporting from the Keystone Building in McCook, Nebraska, I'm Melanie Standiford, Midwest Media by Melanie.